Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany. Welcome back, or welcome if you've never been here before. Today I'm doing another reading vlog. So I want to run through the books that I know I'm going to get to in this vlog very quickly so we can get into it. I have errands to run and I want to pick up the first one, which is The Dragon's Bride by Katee Robert. I have been dying to read this. The cover is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. I hope that I enjoy the pages in it. This is supposed to be about a heroine who makes a deal with a demon. Very excited. This is an anticipated release for me. The next book I know I want to get to is Sabotage by Shantel Tessier. This is like a step-brother, toxic, vindictive relationship, enemies to lovers, and I'm very interested to see about this. This is supposed to be dark. Okay, so more on that later. I'm very excited to pick it up, and I just feel like I'm killing the game here because I'm picking books that are on my TBR. Last month I did pretty well, so we're knocking them down in this one. The next book I absolutely am going to get to is Kink Camp by Andrea Anders. I've been waiting for this for a long time. This is about a woman who goes to a BDSM camp and she gets to explore her interest in being prey, aka primal kink, and I believe it's a romance between her and the owner of the camp, who's very broody and a bit of a recluse. I'm thinking that's it. So if I pick up anything else along the way, I will let you know. I'm gonna pick up The Dragon's Bride first, and I'll be back when I have more thoughts. Bye. So I finished The Dragon's Bride by Katee Robert. I will say I do like the setup of a woman being so desperate to get out of her abusive marriage that she's willing to make a deal with a demon. And I did like the stipulations of her contract, being that she is an auctioned bride. Her buyer has the ability to seduce her, since sex is not part of her 7 years of servitude in order to get out of her situation. I did like that aspect. I thought Soul as a hero, wanting to woo her, wanting to protect her, and wanting to win her was fabulous. I really did enjoy him. I liked that he was willing to take her wishes into consideration despite it thwarting his own agenda. And the fact that he has 2 swords of massive size, that was very fun. But I definitely wanted more from this. I wanted more from their emotional connection. I do like how Katee spends time on Briar's PTSD from the years of abuse that she sustained and how she's aiming to combat that. However, I didn't feel that connected to Briar. And arguably that could be because she's not really connected to herself. She doesn't really even know what she wants to do with the 7 years that she has in this realm. And also, speaking of that realm, I wanted more on that. I mean, Soul is the leader of an entire species, and I wanted to like see that terrain. I wanted to see its inhabitants. I wanted more monsters. He does send them away because he's very possessive of his new bride. But I just wanted more time in the world and with them. This was, it's quick, it's steamy. Katee Robert delivers on that. And yeah, I just wanted a little bit more. This cover is stunning. I'm absolutely loving that about it, but I wanted more from this. I'm going to rate this a 3. And I also read Kitten by Sophie Lark. She is now on Patreon, okay? And since this is on Patreon, I won't go completely in, but I will say I like that she's highlighting mental health, okay? I like that she creates this like perfect storm in terms of setting up the societal circumstances that place women in positions to cash in by commodifying their femininity. I think we're off to a good start here, and I'm really hoping to get a story about Jasper from the Savage. Oh, his backstory is harrowing, and he's living this like sacrificial life and outwardly displays his suffering, and I just cannot wait for a Jasper story. Like, she got me. $7.99, 1 tier. I'm here for it. I'm gonna continue and pick up The Savage, so I'll be back with thoughts on that. Correction, I meant Sabotage. We're not doing that again. I'm picking up Sabotage right now, okay? I'll see you soon. About to close down this park. Why does this look like the beginning of a slasher film with that car in the background? Anyway, it really does. I was not ready for this book at all. I was not ready for Colton's callous and bully-esque dominance and the hate that he harbors for his stepsister Rayleigh, because she is only a toy he gets to play with and not possess. And I say toy because I think that is a word that Rayleigh would prefer. This already has heavy themes of shunning the shame of what we truly desire sexually, and I'm loving that. I believe the hate between them. I'm a little shooketh at their very vindictive step-sibling dynamic. The lengths that they are willing to go to, okay, the lack of boundaries, and even just like the scope of her scorn at the beginning of this book. I hadn't even made it to page 20 and she was burning down his car, and for good reason. I will say and warn you that if you do not like degradation, the prologue opens with it. Okay, it is descriptively depicted on the page, and it's also not something that I enjoy. I am a hoe for praise, okay? But I think that it's a smart choice. It's smart. It's spicy with purpose, because not only do you get to see the need that they quench within each other and how twisted their play can get, but it sets up how Colton takes the tit-for-tat game between them way too damn far. And I love that we were shown as opposed to being told when we find out what he does later. I also like that we get to find out that he did this because he wants to trap her into being only his. She is his stepsister that he can only enjoy in the shadows and never in the light. And so he sabotages every bit of happiness that she could acquire with anyone else, as if she could even seize it with them, because they could never give her what she truly craves. They could never give her what Colton has trained her to crave. And so I also like that she is shameless in her wanton for him, but she hates herself for it. No, that's not Rayleigh. She ain't gonna hate herself. She hates him for it. I love how she despises the double standards for women, but she's also a little complicated because she realizes that that is the way in which society works, and she does open this book assuming a persona that she balks at by being in the relationship that she is in. You also need to be warned that there is cheating in this book, although it is wrapped up very quickly, and I think she does the work of making her boyfriend despicable. You also need to know that that's present as well. There's just a lot going on in this book. This is toxicity that I cannot pry my eyes off of, because I know that Colton truly desires and sees hers and protects her, even though he blocks out all other roads so that they lead to him. It is too much. I'm going to get back to it. I'm going to let you know how this wraps up, but I am more than intrigued. Okay, they're going to close this parking lot off on me, so I will be back when I have more thoughts. Bye. Well, Sabotage escalated to a very dark, violent, and triggering degree. If you have issues with SA descriptively depicted on the page, I would skip this one. It isn't between the hero or the heroine, but it goes there, and it's very violent. And prior to that, the hero does something that really turned me off, because he does it as an act of possession and it's against her consent. And so, I mean, I'm a reader that can devour dubious consent when it's done right. I enjoy consensual non-consent on the page because I believe that kind of play can be healing. And done right to me is that it isn't gratuitously placed. It serves the emotional development between the hero and heroine. It takes us to that next level of acceptance, or it's breaking down that stronghold of feelings, the whole lot of it, okay? But when this hero does this act against her will, it felt like, oh my gosh, it just whittled her down to an actual possession, and not in a sexy way at all. I mean, I was going along with the humiliation because she enjoyed it. That's what authorized it for me. And I bought into their very insidious, ragey torment that they cling to within each other. I bought that. But what he does was foul. And I kind of want to say it, but I feel like putting a timestamp for like 2 seconds later is ridiculous. My channel's small enough for me to just say, DM me if you want to know. Okay, hit me up in the DMs. It may work for you, but it doesn't work for me. I mean, We all have our things. I like mafia heroes with a breeding kink. I think it's sweet, you know? It's a form of possession, but it's also a marker of like how much he's into the heroin. We all have our things. But I also felt like this was too short. I wanted some more resolution on how their family dynamic changed now that they're together. Does Colton shift at all? There's also a very interesting like secret society Skull-esque, if you've ever seen that film, type of storyline, and I wanted a little bit more on that. And I just felt like there were scenes that were placed in here that were more shocking than serving development, and I wanted to spend more time with them. So I'm gonna rate this a 3. And immediately after, I picked up Kink Camp by A. Anders. Oh, and I'm just gonna start by talking about the author's note. I love that she mentions that she went to an adult camp like this and she tried to capture the acceptance and the freedom that was within that space. And it was just a nice touch to know, because I'm already seeing that in this book. I think I love how this opens because it starts right on time, where we have Grace at camp and she's standing before this message board and we get to see it. I think I'm gonna read it because why not? I'm sitting here. Okay, she reads this. Male primal hunter, seeking female prey for a one-time anonymous hunt. No faces, no names, no repeats. Oh. This screams everything that she wants to explore, and this is the place to do it. She's in a freaking trance. She can't take her eyes off of it. And thankfully, her adventurous and loving best friend snags it for her. And I'm about 30% the way in. And the way in which the primal kink is described, it's atmospheric. It's visceral. We get a dual POV where in the mind of Liev, our hero, he describes the feral freedom in the hunt. And we're reading that as well. I mean, shit. Let's do it. I just like how this is written. Oh my God, my headphones. Okay, sorry. Back on track. He says, something like fear skitters up my spine. I shove it back and let feral sounds tear through my chest and soar into the night. Christ, it feels good to be alive. I mean, this is a moment of release for him. He is this recluse. And I just love the way that this is described from Grace's perspective. It's this fear and thrill, and she's stripped down to her like baser instincts. This is a very like fight and flight type of moment. Liev is not expecting her to be so responsive to him, not expecting her to fight so hard and make him work for it, not expecting to want to repeat. And so I'm just interested in seeing how his identity is revealed. He's hooded during this experience, and like for good reason. He's the owner of the camp. This is supposed to be a one-time thing to take the edge off, and it already feels like more. I can't wait to see how she orchestrates a second time. This does have that unity of space that I like because they're both at this camp. So I'm very intrigued. I'm gonna get back into it, and I will be back when I have more thoughts. I really enjoyed Kink Camp. It has this almost like celebratory aspect to it when it comes to BDSM play. Like, this is a safe environment where consent is king and people are just roaming around free to express themselves and comfortable in their own skin. I really enjoyed that. And I also think it isn't heavy in terms of there being like darker themes, it being forbidden or taboo. It has been a while, okay, since I've had like primal kink in, or maybe the first time in a setting like this. And, you know, the hero is dealing with grief, and I like how that is handled because he's still in a transitional period with that and doesn't know what to make of his draw towards Grace. I also enjoyed that this isn't like kinky for kink's sake. There are multiple opportunities for Grace to explore with others during her stay there. And yet, if it doesn't have anything to do with Liev, she isn't interested. And it's a simple decline that she isn't pressured on. And I loved that. I also enjoyed how they're both artists, and this newfound connection really inspires and amplifies their work. Oh, this was just spicy and sweet. Like a camp crush that blossoms into love, and there is this undeniable emotional connection between them, this gravitas that is depicted on the page, and this knowing that it's like a poignant moment that they have to seize. I had a really great time with this. I'm gonna rate this a 4. I'm very excited about this series. There is a like second epilogue novella that I want to get into. There are side characters that I'm already like very much interested in because they leapt off the page and felt like found family. This is going to be a fun, kinky series to follow. I cannot wait for the next book. We get a little bit of the next one, a chapter at the end. So I'm here for it. I'm ready. This was just like light. It was heady, but also light and sweet. So it hit the spot for me. I think I'm going to end this vlog here though, because I want to get it out. I also want to thank you for joining me. I hope you can consider subscribing and sticking around, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.